Hello, this is SD from Divine Solutions, where we believe the soul has the solution to all your problems. I have to say that I'm new to this whole YouTube thing and just trying to walk through it, so you guys are going to have to bear with me as I grow. But I believe one day that I'm going to get where I'm going. If you could just follow me. I appreciate if you could hit the like or subscribe button and subscribe and follow me as we do this walk. So I always say, I want to start by saying, like, I thought, you write something out, you want to talk about what you think you want to talk about. But it's like, it's what comes from here, from your heart, is where you got to speak from. Like, what is the most pressing issue on your life right now? And so many of my guides or people who talk to me or inspire me, they tell me just share your story, But then you gotta ask yourself, where does your story begin? Where does it really begin? So I could start from where I'm at right now. So where I'm at right now is, first I suffer from lupus, which I have more sort of skin lupus, where it messes with your skin, so it messes with your your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, and it makes you not want to get out here and speak in front of people. But it's just like the shamans say, like, when you find a sickness, you gotta heal that sickness, so that it's what you heal in yourself, you will go on and heal in others. So you can't let that hold you back, So that's the first thing I want to say. And then it's just, it's fear. Do I know enough? Have I studied enough? Have I witnessed enough? And it's like, at some point, like, they've given you everything that you need to move forward, but it's just, if you're going to let that fear stop you from getting out here, telling your story, telling what you've witnessed, telling what you've made it through, what you surpassed, And so that's what I'm here to do today. I did a couple videos, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm new to this, so y'all going to have to tell me if I'm doing okay, So I will start with saying, like, right now it's tough. It's the holidays. I'm not currently with anybody. I'm by myself. Divorced 5 years, so kind of separated, estranged from my family. And, things had got so bad that I actually had to move back in with my folks for a little while I figured this all out, And it's just like things, everything used to just flow naturally. And it's just like everything is kind of on pause right now. Like, I can't manifest the way I used to manifest. And the things that I was doing that was working fluently are no longer working. It's like, in some ways, the universe is taking these things away from me because it's guiding me to do this, right? So I said, okay, I'm gonna do this. And then when I do this, it's like, but now I got my bills, my child support, my car payment, my everything like that. And so I gotta focus on that. So I'm pulled between the two, And the hardest part is like, in some ways, it's like you got to make a choice. Like, are you going to choose this spiritual path, this enlightened path, or are you going to stay in a fearful state and stay, I got to find a job, or I got to find a way to pay the bills? And sitting in that space is, I tell you, it's the hardest place to be. It is, because it's like your heart and your soul is calling you to go out and chase your dream. But what you doing, maybe nobody's done it before, or in the way that you want to do it, maybe they haven't done it that way. So it's like you sit in that place of, like, do I go left or do I go right? Do I stay with Save, or do I go out into the adventure and try to make a run at this, And so that's where I'm at. I'm trying to make a run at this right now, because I believe God put a word in me. You know what I mean? So many times I've seen it, and so many visions where I've seen it. It's like He want me to tell you the story, and not from an ego place, but from a place of, if I tell you my story, hopefully my hopes is that you could relate to some of the things that I went through. You could have that aha moment, like, well, I went through that too. I went through that, and I was in that same space, or I'm in that space of just don't know, unknown, lost, lonely, all by yourself and not giving up. You know, that's the hardest thing, is to not give up. When you're in that suffering and that pain, not to give up. When there's days you don't want to get out of bed, when you feel like it's just no reason, like it's just too much to bear. And sitting here, it's a few weeks before Christmas, and that's how I feel some days. This is too much to bear. Like it's like I can't take no more. Sometimes I shed a tear because it's just too painful. You know what I mean? Like it's painful to sit there and sit in that emptiness and that unknown of which way to go. And this thing is the universe keeps nudging me. It keeps telling me, like, I look back over my videos and I see the signs. It's like I know what they want me to do, like without a shadow of a doubt. And that is to teach, preach, share my knowledge, share my story. Like, I know that without a shadow of a doubt. But there's something in me that, like, it's the fear. I don't know. It's something that's trying to hold me back. And I also believe that there's outside forces that are trying to hold me back, because I feel like I'm gonna move people. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna move people. And so it's like, once you get to that place, it's like, what are you gonna do? You have to draw your line in the sand and step across that line, or you're gonna stay stuck. And that's what I'm doing today. So I'm stepping across that line, because I know that's gonna make my future bright. I know that I'm gonna help people. And I don't think I'm better than nobody. All I know is I know nothing at all. But I'm here because I've been called to be here. And so this is where I'm gonna start on this. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna start from when I was young, you know, from the gate. And it's from that place where like, when I'm looking in hindsight, it all makes sense. Why that my life was always harder than most people's. I didn't grow up in a rough neighborhood, and grew up in suburbia in a small town called Katona. Nothing bad happens or whatever, but you'd be surprised what you go through, and I don't care where you're at, it happens, and it shapes you, So I'm gonna start when I was young, when I was first born, as far back as I could remember, or put together with the pieces that I was told. So when I was born, for the first 6 years of my life, I never had one night's sleep. Not one. Every night I would wake up with terror dreams, or what I would come to find out what was terror dreams. And it'd always be something getting me, trying to chase me. And I'd wake up and I'd be screaming and yelling, and always in constant fear or constant anxiety. Like, just imagine going to sleep and you just, every night, something's coming to you, and it's gonna scare you, or it's gonna wake you up. And as a child, it's traumatizing. And so this went on for some years, many years. I also was like a college baby, so I was crying a lot and stuff. And it went on for many years. And so finally, I'll say I was about 5 years old. My parents took me to a psychologist, and he said, well, I want you to draw me a picture of what it is that you see. And so I drew a picture with a lot of lines, and it just looked like a blob. And that's the best way I can describe it, because it was energy. It wasn't like a physical thing that I could say, okay, it looks like this. And so he said, okay, and he looked at it. And so I went to him for a while, and he really couldn't get to the bottom of it. And so he said, I want to stress that I was always in constant fear, like anxiety, uncontrollable anxiety. And so I would wake up in terror, like the most extreme fear that you could ever think of. It was always something was coming after me, or something was trying to get me. And it really made me just like as a kid, I was traumatized. And so eventually we went a few times, maybe about, a good amount of time. And he talked to my mother, and he said, listen, this is what I want you to do. He said, I want you to go home tonight and give him some warm milk and Oreo cookies before he goes to bed. And so we left, And that night, my mother gave me the Oreos and the warm milk. And that was the first time in the first 6 years of my life that I did not wake up in a terror dream. And see, it was nurturing. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, so it was love. You know, they like somebody was showing me love. You know, and so I just sat there, and now, like, I'm looking at it in hindsight, and that being that I was a colicky baby, or a baby who cried all the time, you know, maybe sometimes your parents would just leave you to cry it out. They think you're being spoiled or whatever, or just, you know, not knowing how to handle the situation, you know. But I was like, I always felt alone, like not loved, like it was just me, you know what I mean? And as a child, you need that nurturing. You need somebody to say, I love you, you know, somebody to hold you and take care of you as a child. You know, I don't care if you're male or female, you need that, you know? And so, like, I finally got a little break from it and everything. And then we actually at the time was living in a small town called Bedford Hills, which maybe some of y'all know because the Bedford prison is near here, so probably heard of it. It's like the prison for women up in New York. And so we lived there for a little while, and then we moved to Katona. And in Katona, it was like moving, and it sounds like, because I tell a lot of people, and they believe, you know, it's a wealthy area, but there was an area where it was not so wealthy. There was an area where it was mostly Black or Hispanic in Katona, you know, and a lot of Jamaican immigrants came in more so in the 80s, and they were from like Kingston, whatever. So it not like there was shootings or nothing like that, but it was a melting pot. That's the best way I could put it, is that it was a melting pot. And so I moved to this area, and when we moved in, you know, at first everything was fine, but then once again it was the fear. Like, I was going outside getting bullied, or it was like going from the little pond to the big pond. But if you tell people from, like, you know, the Bronx or in the city, they say, oh, that's nothing. But to me, it was something, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm sharing it. And so lived in constant fear, you know, and I would come home, and me and my father, we ain't really had the best relationship. So, you know, he was, I guess, making me tough, whatever. So just always in constant fear, you know, and at some point it does something to you. I think it's your amygdala, like it's always stimulated, where you have that post-traumatic stress, like you just always on like alert, like you don't know how to chill, like you just, you know, you ready, you know, and after a while, just being at that, it's like your brain it becomes like a memory, like a second, like it does it by itself, like you don't even, like you just on point, you on 10 all the time. But it does something to you after a period of time. And living in constant fear, living in constant, you know, like, and it just builds up, or being bullied. I was bullied. And it says at some point, it does something to you. You know, it's something that can't be changed. It's like it's like it kind of breaks you or molds you into what it wants it to be. And that's what it did to me. So the fear of being bullied, getting off the bus, and somebody's gonna beat me up every day. Be coming home, and my father, he trying to make me tougher, I guess, or beat me up every day. And as a little kid, as a man, like a boy, you feel fear wherever you go. And so that's where I think the root took hold, is fear. You know, and fear, and that's not what life is about. It ain't about living in fear. You know, just anxiety. It's not about that. You know, and as you grow older and you do your work, it's love, man. You don't got no love for yourself. You don't got no love for others. You can't move in this world if you don't have those things, you know. And so it took me a long time to go through all that, you know, and my childhood to me was rough. You know, I felt isolated. I felt like, even in my family dynamic, that I was the black sheep. I was the one who always took the brunt of the jokes, or like almost somebody would always pull a chair out from under me as soon as I trusted them, or as soon as I was feeling like, yeah, okay, I can believe this, or I can trust in them, or whatever. And then the chair would get pulled up of it. So it's like you grow up so distrustful, right? And at some point you distrust yourself because you lived in so much distrust. You distrust yourself. You don't even know if you can trust yourself because there's no one around you who you trust, who you believe in. And so you sit there and you say to myself, God, dude, who am I? You know, you develop a false identity of who you are because you just want to fit in. You just want to belong. You want to be a part of it all. But you lose yourself in all that. And it takes many years. Some people don't never come back to their true self, you know? But it takes many years of work to evolve from that. That trauma, they said the first 7 years of your life shape your life. That's the first 7 of my years of my life. Traumatic, abuse, living in fear, living in this constant fear, anxiety. And like, that's not a childhood. You know? I never heard my parents say, I love you. Never. You know what I mean? And like, to grow up feeling unlovable in this world is tough because that's how you learn to love others. That's where you learn to love the community, you know? I just grew up distrustful, you know? And it's taken me places that I'm not proud of, you know what I mean? But it was all part of the lesson. Because it's led me here. It's led me here to shed this story and tell you, you know? So it's like, I'm going to get back. I know I'm all over the place, so you guys got to work with me. But I'm going to get back to, so when I moved to the Katona, my father and my mother bought a house, and we moved in. I told you previously about, you know, all the stuff that I went through with all the melting pot, everything like that. So at some point, the dream started again, like the night terrors. That's what I call them, where every single night I would wake up and I would, in my dream, I would walk throughout the house, and somewhere I would know that whatever this entity, and by this time it had grown into, I guess like a witch or like a skeleton type of figure, but it had light. It was light. It was like a lit up skeleton, or like a witch with hair, half hair, and it would always be waiting for me somewhere in the house, around the corner. And I know it was like I was walking through a maze, but I would see this witch-like creature, and it would scare the life of me. So it's like you going to sleep, and you know every night you're going to have that same dream. And you're going to wake up in extreme fear. And that was my life for a while. And it was just, I took it as it was normal, but it happened every single night. And not till now that I'm in my wisdom that I know what it was about. It was to instill fear in me. Such a great fear that I would not rise to be who I was going to be. It was a test by the darker forces that be, that are against the light people, that don't want us to shine. And they try to break your will and your soul at a very young age. Because by doing so, then you will never be who you came here to be. You will live in fear. You will never show up who you're supposed to be. But see, they had the right one. I'm a Leo. My will is stronger than most. I don't never quit. Never quit. I may get beat up, I'll take a knee. I don't never quit. It's that fight in me. Right? It's that fight in me that has made me be who I'm supposed to be. It has brought me here right now. You have no idea on the spiritual realm what I've been through to get here. Like, no idea. I believe they bestowed this in me. Get downloads constantly. I've done real battle. And I might belittle nobody else's spiritual battle, but I've done real spiritual battle. I'm talking in a realm that I was not ready for. I don't even know how to fight in that realm. And because of it, I took my licks. I took my licks. And I learned so much from the experience, like that what they're trying to do is try to make you be them, make you hurt people and do wrong to them. And you got to counter with love, right? And sitting in that love, you're trying to say, okay, I'm going to counter this with love and I'm going to rise above this. Raise your vibration so high that they can't touch you, even though they still hurting you, even though they still bullying you. And they're doing it because they know you don't know how to fight on that realm. But they think that they're breaking you, but all they're doing really is making you strong. So if you're going through that right now, if you be under spiritual attack or you under the attack of anything that is doing that, I just suggest you just sit in it and don't you give it power by being angry at it or wanting revenge. Like, just let it be. Karma is slow, but it's just. Trust and believe that. Karma is slow, but it is just. And you'll know. You'll know when it comes, and you sit there and you just watch. And you watch the people fall by the wayside of all the people who came against you. But you didn't raise your hand against them. You didn't resort to trying to hurt them. You didn't resort to doing the same stuff they did to you. You start, and God came to me. Jesus came to me. And I'm not even religious. I don't believe in the Bible. I believe in some of the stories, but I'm not religious like that. And he's come to me and stepped in. And so many magical things have happened where I thought all was lost. I really thought all was lost. And they've always stepped in, and I know they stepped in because it's something I was supposed to do. Just like there's something you're supposed to do. You gotta just sit there in that emptiness, I tell you, and the answers will come. It unfolds like pieces to the puzzle. And when you have all the pieces together, you're gonna be whole. And the journey don't ever end. It's always ongoing. The journey is always ongoing. It never ends. So you might reach this place, you say, oh, I made it. But no, then there's the whole other door open and you go on to the next part of it. You're so much to learn, and it's so hard to learn is because it's hidden. They send these things, I don't know if you want to call it energies or entities. They ride with us from birth because their one mission in life is to make sure that we never become who we're going to be. And I'm speaking this to the chosen ones. And you know who you are. Because some of the similarities of things I'm saying are going to add up to you. It's going to make sense to you. And you got to know that you're chosen. Chosen for a reason. And that you got to fulfill your destiny. And just like it's hard for me to come here and get on here and talk to you, it's going to be hard for you too. It's going to be hard because it's by design. They want you to fear it. And you got to run to what you fear. You got to step up, stand tall, 10-toe, and say, I'm ready. You want to keep bringing it, bring it. Because I'm here. And I'm fighting for my people, my tribe. And I'm doing this work so that I could tell you what happened. You come to me, you say, well, where I'm at, I could tell you based on, I don't know exactly where you at, but I can share my story or experience that I've been through. So hopefully it could help you. Hopefully it's going to help you to grow. My greatest aspiration is to give you a tool or a gem to make you don't have to suffer and go through what I went through. Because I had no one. I had no one to go to. Anybody you try to talk to about this stuff, they think you crazy. But I'm telling you, I'm that person to talk to. If you need some guidance or help, or you just in a situation, because the thing I've seen not of this world. And before I let you go, I just want to get back to finish my story because I get off track sometimes, so you just have to work with me. So after a period of time back when we moved to the house of the tonal, like I said, that I saw energy that was chasing me every night, but I never told anyone. I never told my parents. We never went back to this. I just kept it to myself. And every night I would go down and the same thing would happen. So on one night, I went downstairs and I looked out the front of the picture window. And there was a graveyard all lit up. The headstones were lit up. And there was hundreds of these same ghosts or whatever you want to call them floating around in my yard. It was like a graveyard. It was a graveyard with all these ghosts, and all you can see is the light there illuminated of all these ghost witch-like, skeleton-like beings just floating around. And it was spirit. And I just sat there and I was in such shock or such fear. And for the longest, I couldn't, I just shut it out. As a 7-8-year-old kid, to see that world and to see into the spiritual world, it gave me great fear. I would say I shut it out for 30 years. Like I don't want to never see it again. Because it's the most fearful thing that I ever seen. Especially as a child. Like, what are you going to go tell your mother? I seen ghosts or I seen spirit. And I'm 55, so we talking back in the days, And the ironic thing is that I remember as a kid, my mother used to sit down and she would tell a story. She grew up in Florida, and she would say her brothers had the gift. I don't, I'm a kid, so I don't know what that means. And she would tell me stories about her brothers would be walking, like they lived in Florida, in the South, and it was, like really prejudiced. And she said her and her brothers would be walking, and all of a sudden one of her brothers would start screaming and yelling. He would say, "You guys don't see that? You don't see that?" And like, "What are you talking about? We don't see anything." And he said, "Look at the man, the boy hanging in the tree." And he would see vision. He could see in daylight people hung in the tree, like a kid, slaves that were hung in the tree, and he could see them, but could nobody else see them, And it's like I figured that I have that same gift of vision, but because it was so fearful to me, I blocked it out, and that it's gradually coming back to me now, And so I share that because it's like I don't want you to be scared of your gift. I want you to accept your gift and don't be fearful of it because it's who you are. It's your divine purpose. It's who you are. And you need to embrace it. Step into it with all your strength and all your power and all your might. And that's what I brought this message. And that's, if you didn't get nothing else from this at all, that's what I want you to get, is that step into your power. Step into your true self. Not your body or who you are as a mother, father, boyfriend, girlfriend, or how you pay your bills. Like, at some point, what really matters is going to come out. All that shine and glitter, it fades, and you're going to want to do your purpose. Chase your purpose and your dreams and like who you really came here to be. I hope that you got something from this message. This is, I guess, part one of my series that I'm going to put out, and I want you to follow me along the journey, and the best part I want you to say is that, like, from a young age, we're shaped. If you forget where you came from, you ain't gonna never make it where you going. So it's the things in our childhood that we need to heal so that we can progress. We have to go back to almost like a childhood state to feel that fear again, to face it. I hope you enjoyed my first talk. I'm gonna be bringing back many. This is not my first talk, but you guys gotta work with me. I'm gonna get there someday. But I thank everybody for checking in. Thank you for liking Divine Solutions. I appreciate it if you could just hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to be bringing new material to you shortly. Thank you, and Ashe.